Hi there, everybody. How are you doing? Happy Tuesday. Yes, well, let's chat today. We're going to do another Dear Therapist Connie question. I'm having a lot of fun with these, you guys. Thank you for submitting your questions. And if you have more of them, please put them on Facebook, my Facebook page, Therapist Connie. And that'll be great. Okay, here's our question for today. I think this is going to be a good one. Will writes in, every therapist I've ever seen has tried to classify adoption as a traumatic memory or experience. Why? All right, Will. Fantastic question. Let's talk about adoption for a minute. First of all, I want to let you know I am no adoption expert. There are therapists out there who work in the area of adoption very specifically, and they're going to know way more about this than I do. But I do know a few things. Number one, I've got an adopted brother, and I have an adopted stepdaughter. And so adoption is very close to my family, and I have a heart for it. So I want to speak to this. Will, excellent question. There are so many variables in adoption. So many. First of all, the age the child is adopted at, the age the child leaves the parents, the circumstances before adoption, what was their life like before adoption, and also the capacity of the new parents to be able to bond or attach. Those are all, in adoption, these are huge variables. So I'm going to kind of fly blind here for a minute and kind of talk about this without knowing the exact circumstances you're talking about, Will. Let's start at the beginning. When a child is in utero, they are able to hear a mom's voice. There's already, know that it's her voice, able to hear siblings' voices, get used to dad's voice. There's already a certain level of familiarity and bonding that's going on before the child is even born. Then when they're born, there's all kinds of, in an ideal situation or healthy situation, there's some good attachment going on between the mom and the dad and the baby. The baby feels this, they feel attachment, they feel cared for, all those different things. So, as the baby's brain develops, it's getting this early neurowiring of attaching to those caregivers. And even if there's an adoption right after birth, to where there's just no contact between mom and the baby, there are still potentially attachment problems that go on there. So, all right, so this early neurowiring of bonding with the caregiver and the child saying, I'm safe. This is my object caregiver. This is the object taking care of me. If that is disrupted, it can be a traumatic situation. So so basically, Will, you're saying every therapist I've seen has tried to classify adoption as a traumatic memory or experience. Well, traumatic, let's talk about the word traumatic. That's a very broad term that can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. I'm kind of going it more from the attachment or bonding level. The attachment, human attachment is essential for good mental and physical health. They're finding that more and more. Oh, go read some good books on attachment theory. They're out there. They're fantastic. And attachment is essential in human development. So let's say the child is right at birth given to the adopted family. And the adopted family immediately bonds, caregives, works with that child. The level of trauma, or whatever we're going to call this, non-attachment, I'm using these words very loosely, is going to be less than if, for some reason, okay, then now let's take it out 3 months even. Just 3 months into the adoption life process, the child has already either bonded to their birth parent or has not bonded to anyone. Very difficult. Could be very difficult transition to go through. I've been around parents who've adopted children that are just a few months old, and it can be brutal It can be really tough for the parent and the kid because the kid is grieving their previous attachment, or they haven't figured out how to attach yet. So that is part of why a lot of times therapists will say, yeah, that it could be a traumatic experience. I'm not willing to categorize every single adoption as traumatic, but it has the potential for it, and it has the potential for difficulty attaching. So that's kind of, I hope I'm speaking your language here, Will. And later on, if, let's say, a child is in a really chaotic situation for the first several years of their life, and then the state comes in and their drugs or whatever takes them away, puts them in another home, all kinds of difficulty and attachment issues going on there. So, yeah, so it's good to be aware of that. If a person is adopted, to go, my early brain wiring has had a few jolts along the way. Nothing to be ashamed of, nothing to be worried about, really, except aware of it. Like, I want to keep this in mind, that I might struggle with some attachment from time to time. Yeah, that's some of the main stuff. This is a quick overview. Again, I'm not specifically an adoption expert, but that's what I do know about attachment and early neurowiring, and having a big heart for adoption with my own family as well. So everybody, hope you have a great day. Send me your questions. I want your questions. All right, take care. Bye-bye.